Pokémon Legends ZA. It's finally here and not without its controversies and issues. I played the game to its entirety and I had fun, but I also ran into plenty of problems and game elements that did get on my nerves. I put my thoughts together and came to the conclusion that I have 9 main issues with the game, and so I decided to give them the creative title of the 9 issues with Pokémon Legends ZA. We're gonna go through all of them today in no particular order except for the last one, which I think is the biggest problem of this game, and it's actually something I feel like a lot of the newer Pokémon games are starting to suffer from. And no, it's not the windows and boring looking buildings, though that is one of the issues and the first one I would like to get into. Or not get into, because you can't go into many of the buildings here, but you know what I mean. The buildings suck, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it just doesn't look great, and you probably already know that because that's all people can seem to talk about. But honestly, even though yeah, it doesn't look good, it's really not that big of a deal. Yeah, the buildings look bad and the entire map is basically nothing but buildings, but when you're playing, you're usually not really noticing it. There is always stuff going on to distract you, like, yeah. You see what I mean? Ghastly. You're looking at where you're going, you're looking at the people in the streets, you're looking at the Pokemon you're trying to catch, you're looking at the Pokemon you're trying to fight, you're looking at Emma's new design, it's really cute, good job. So what I'm saying is, as long as you're not paying attention to it, you usually don't really notice. But I do have to use the word usually here, because while playing I did have moments where I was like, yeah, this looks like shit. I'm not talking to you, Trubbish, you're great. So it does deserve to be on the list of the Legends ZA issues, it's just not that big of a deal as some people make it out to be. But now, for our second issue, let's move away from the buildings and the city and get right back into it, because you can't leave the city. And I mean, we knew this going in, and I also feel like this isn't a massive issue, but it's still disappointing. I mean, there's plenty of things to do and see, and you can walk basically anywhere, there's so much space, you can go any place you want. And there's all these little areas hidden away between buildings where you find items or rare Pokemon. There's still plenty of opportunities to explore like you have in other Pokemon games. Like after fighting Laban over here, or however you pronounce that, I took a little break and started watching someone stream. And they were at the place I hadn't even seen yet in all my 20 hours of game time. So it's not like the map is small or if there's nothing to do, it's just, it would have been nice if there was a bit more variety. I had this idea of what if they made the city smaller, hold that thought, but then they gave you access to like 4 routes around the city or something. The available area and size of the game could stay the same, but you'd have a change in scenery and new locations to unlock. I feel like that would have been a great addition, but overall, this ain't the biggest issue either. Unlike something that I have seen many other people complain about as well, and sure is very annoying. The like 6-hour long tutorial. This is nothing new for Pokemon games. For generations, the first part has always been a super long tutorial bit, and it's always been a slug to get through. But somehow I feel like this time it was even more annoying. I actually kinda like how at first you only had part of the map available and would kinda unlock more areas as you continue the story / tutorial. The limited area made it a bit less overwhelming and easier to settle in. But they surely could have made it a bit clearer what parts were available and which weren't. Sometimes the map would show something you'd want to check out, but then when you get close you'd get blocked by a silly Urbane notification. You'd see a puzzle and right when you get to it you get blocked by a silly Urbane notification. You'd see an item on the floor, 2 steps away from it you'd get blocked by a silly Urbane notification. This is all my own experience, by the way, I didn't have to look up online examples or anything, this is just one playthrough. And the fact that it like stops your entire game and shows you a pop-up that you need to click A to close, it really gets you out of it. They should have just put down a wall or maybe shown that it was unavailable on the minimap or something. Just something so we know what we can and can't do. This really made walking around the city very unbearable at first. And during this whole 6-hour period, some of the features are disabled as well, like getting access to clothing stores for more customization or even sitting on a bench. This is no time to be sitting around. What do you mean I'm tired and need to catch a break and sit down so I have time to click the subscribe button underneath this very rambly but great video? You don't know my struggle. Speaking of benches, these are actually the subject of another issue I have with this game, though it is a small one. When you sit on a bench, you get the chance to chill with all your Pokemon and get to take pictures with them. And let me just say that I absolutely love this feature. We also had a camera feature in Scarlet and Violet, but in this game we have even more options to take all kinds of cool and fancy pictures with our Pokemon. It's really immersive and really lets you bond with your Pokemon even if it's only in your head. It's just fun. The only issue I have with it though is that taking pictures with your entire party is kind of impossible because you can't get them to stand in one place where they all fit in frame. This kind of seems like a non-issue, And it kinda is, just the problem I have with it is that they did show it in the trailer, and then you're watching it and go like, that's cool, I wanna do that, and then you buy the game for 65 euros and then you can't do it. Just kind of false advertising, and I don't like that, unless I'm doing something wrong, in which case please let me know in the comments. Next up, issue number 5, the new battle system needs some more work. Now this is another thing everyone is talking about, but more in a positive light, and I can kinda get it, because the new battle system of Pokémon Legends EA, it's kind of fun, I just have problems with it as well. It does feel a lot more realistic, but it also just feels quite clunky because, for example, some Pokemon like to use their ranged attacks always from a certain position compared to where you are standing. Like here, this should be an easy one-shot for my Frostlass. Higher speed, super effective, call it a day. But when I order her to use Ice Beam, instead of just using the move and winning the fight, she walks to my right and dies to a crunch instead. Or here, where I throw in my B-Drill, it has to do some kind of animation first during which it can't move, but the opponent can and gets in their free move before I can even do anything. And then I Mega Evolve, and by the time I get control of it again and am able to actually use a move, the guard jump has already finished its next attack and insta-killed me before I get to do literally anything. I've had stuff like this happen to me so many times despite me not having that much footage of it. Ranged attacks always take like 5 hours to charge up, and it can be very infuriating at times when your Pokemon just stands around while your opponent is getting in free damage. I guess they kinda have to be slower, because otherwise you'd just be able to kite melee Pokemon all day, which wouldn't be fun either. But in all history of Pokemon, those with high speed move first, so I don't know, have the charge and animation time be quicker for those with higher speed maybe? Besides this, the battle system is very fun though. It feels a lot more realistic and can also feel very rewarding, like when you, for example, perfectly time a protect. It just needed like a tiny bit more work, and also better controls maybe, because aiming kind of is a pain as well. So many times I accidentally aimed at the wrong thing and my Pokemon is all like, haha, this Pokemon that's trying to beat me up has almost fainted. Now this is the perfect opportunity to aim at this tree. Or at this rock. Or I throw a ball at the wrong thing twice. Or I fail to throw a ball in its entirety. Or I roll into battle because the roll button is the same as the attack button. It's very annoying, but maybe that's just me. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not the best gamer in the world, but usually I am at least able to control my character the way I wanted to. When you don't feel in control of your own character, it just can be really annoying. Especially when it's also combined with ZA's issue number 6 and number 7, which I kinda wanna talk about together. The battle zones can be very empty and can come and go at quite inconvenient timings. In order to start a boss battle in this game, which are kinda like the gym leaders here, you have to beat a certain number of trainers in the battle zones that only appear at night. But then you go there, ready to battle people, and there's just no one to be found. You also have these little extra challenges laying around, and sometimes they're like, beat a trainer of a higher rank, and you're all like, okay, I'll take the challenge. But then you realize that the real challenge wasn't beating a higher ranked trainer, it's more actually finding a higher ranked trainer. And then when you finally do find someone, the night is ended and the zone closes and you're just like, okay, great. At least now I can sit on the bench to pass the time and skip till the next night to do it all over again. It's great. I got a dinosaur yesterday. I don't know why I have this. Now, the final small issue I have before we get into the big one is that the game feels a bit lacking in returning X and Y characters. Now, I get that we don't want to fill the entire city with characters from a game that's 12 years old, because people who haven't played that game should be able to enjoy this game as well without needing to know any of the backstory and stuff. But it's also kinda weird how this is like the biggest city of the region, and yet there is no trace to be found of any people we know, like the gym leaders, including the one who's supposed to live here. The Elite Four isn't here, and neither is Diantha. Sycamore and his assistants have left, and so have all the 27 rivals we had in X and Y. Even Callum and Serena aren't here. AZ died and no one showed up to his funeral. Just put someone in the background or something as a little reference, that'd be great. We really only have 6 returning characters, and 2 of those are Pokemon who can talk. I would have loved to interact with some more characters from the old games. Like, imagine when you get to the Wall of Grisham part and have to fight Chriselle first. What if her hair was more pink and then she went like, I used to be the highest ranking admin in all of Team Flare, all the while being part of the foremost elite trainers of the entire region. There is no way I'd lose to you. And then she unties her hair and puts on different glasses during her battle animation, and it's revealed she's actually Malva this whole time. New players won't get the reference, but also wouldn't be negatively affected by it either, while the older players would be all hyped for getting to battle an old Elite 4 member. Not to mention, this would also be cool because it implies that your character is now on Elite 4 levels of strength, and makes you wonder if Grisham would be champion level, since he's supposedly stronger than Chriselle. These characters mention Malva anyway, so it's not like Game Freak is trying to hide her or forgot about her or anything. And Chriselle's design is awesome. I don't hate her or think this is a bad bit. This was just a random example of what I think would have been really cool for some of the older players. But now, let's discuss what in my opinion is Legends ZA greatest issue. That being all the useless dialogue and boring bits that just don't go anywhere. I feel like this I can best explain through example. Remember the Canary quiz you have to do before you can battle her? She's like, my favorite food are macarons, true or false? And then if you get it right, nothing special happens, and if you get it wrong, Naveen tells you to pick the different answer and also nothing happens. Or when she makes you travel to Random Cafe 12 to pick up an item and then you travel back to your original location to present it, something else that you literally can't do wrong. I'm talking about these bits. They feel so useless because you're not doing anything with your Pokémon. You're not solving a puzzle, you're not using your skill, your strategy, your craftsmanship. You're not actually playing a game. All you're doing is just mashing the A button while characters tell you stuff that have zero relevance to you or the story. Like when you, Emma and Ivor are looking for Gwen and arrive at City Hall. There's a bunch of NPCs and you have to find the right one to talk to. Then when you do, you travel to Team Flare Cafe and talk to them, and then you go to Canary. Realistically, nothing happens here. I get that you're getting clues for Gwen's location, but the game could have easily just brought you to Canary from the get-go and skipped these 2 steps where all gameplay is just open map, travel to place A, mash A button, open map, travel to place B, mash A button some more. At least when you're at Canary's place you have to battle her, so that is actual gameplay. You have to use your Pokemon and your skill as a trainer to beat her to unlock information from her. And then your team gets experience from it as well, so it's also useful in that aspect. While the other bits serve absolutely no purpose. What, is it so important for us to know that Canary's Electra's favorite food is an overbaked Lumiose galette? We have to dedicate a whole 10 minutes of the game to it? Bits like the strategy meetings are fine because that actually drives the story forward and tells you about the bosses you're about to fight. But these parts, honestly, I feel like they're just included to make the game longer, so Nintendo and Game Freak can go like, look, it's a 28-hour game, it's worth your 65 euros, but that doesn't matter if 8 of those hours are spent reading useless dialogue that honestly isn't that bad itself. I do like these characters, so it's fun to see them interact. But can we have them interact in a way that gives us actual gameplay as well? Make us catch a fire type to burn the Lumiose galette ourselves, like how we have to freeze the fountain to get into the sewers. Or make us catch a Pokemon that can sniff Gwen's scent and make us follow it like how we have to follow Zygarde. At least then we're actually playing a game and not just reading text. These parts are in my opinion the biggest problem with these games nowadays. Useless slop to artificially make the game longer than it actually is. Cut these parts and take the money you save from it and buy an actual balcony from it or something, okay? However, even after all this, I do gotta say, I love this game. Might sound a bit weird since I've been complaining about it for the past 30 minutes, but these 9 issues are basically all the issues I have with it. The rest is awesome. I do have some like very small things, but really the rest is just really fun. The story is great. It's quite challenging while not requiring much grinding. The characters are fun, most of the gameplay is as well. Pokemon follow you, it's probably the best looking mainline Pokemon game after maybe Let's Go. And almost all new Mega Evolutions are great, and it was really fun discovering them during the story. In the original X and Y, only you, your rival, Lysander and Diantha had a Mega Pokemon. But now it's like every somewhat important character, and every time they throw out their final Pokemon, you're all hyped because that Pokemon got a new form and they didn't spoil most of them during the trailers. Naturally running into Mega Phalanx, Mega Skarmory, Mega Dragalge, Mega Frostless. It was a truly great experience. Not all of them are S tier, but most of them are really awesome. Floette kind of looks like it has an umbilical cord with its flower. I don't really like that, it's kind of weird. Pokémon Legends ZA is a flawed game, but not flawed enough for me to not love it. I've honestly got to put this game in A tier. I can't put it in S, but I got way too much enjoyment out of it to put it any lower. Besides not being able to travel and explore a region, the game really feels like Pokémon. This game and its features even made me care about Warthog of all things, because I put one on my team, and if a game can make someone like this face, you gotta applaud it. And here I originally had a bit where I realized I hadn't found any shinies yet after 35 hours of game time, but while recording footage for this video, I found my shiny. It's a trike and very awesome, and with this all balance is restored and I am satisfied. Were you satisfied with this game? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you have any issues with the game that I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments, and please consider hitting the subscribe button because it will really help me out a lot.